sitting at 617, so that should work out, my friend.
Close enough. As we are heading to RPG's map choice for game number 2, it is going to be the Cursed Hollow.
First Cursed Hollow game of the day. Me likey, that's for sure. And that's the cool thing about round 2 in this double round robin system, right? We get to see maps that the teams were a little reluctant, were a little hesitant to pick in the first round. So more Cursed Hollow, potentially a little bit more Brexus holdout, who knows? As we're going to see those teams deployed. And Cursed Hollow, man, we could see another Tyrael, to be honest. It's a great map for him.
We could. We will have to see if we do, as it's the Genji ban against RPG. Makes sense. RPG removing that Diablo. Diablo very heavily banned. We haven't seen him at all yet today.
Yeah, that is correct, man. A lot of teams like KT, like RPG, they really don't seem to want to play against it. Either their tank players don't feel comfortable in the hero, which I would actually say it's true for C. Like, I've yet to remember a great Diablo game by him. Whereas he's great on the Muradin, great on that Stitches. I think the Diablo looked a little bit weak compared to those. But yeah, A-Team, they're going in for that Dehaka again, right at the get-go.
Still a good hero. Can't fault them for it. However, Yorel, Malthael, all these heroes are available, and we all know these are heroes that Chicken can play, assuming they don't go for a Tracer composition again. If not, they still have the Oryx, so even more percentage damage. That's for C. And MJ.
All right, MJ really seems to have found his baby boy of the day with that Malfurion. Doing him great service, actually. He's played so consistently well today, MJ. A player that has been criticized in the past, at least a little bit by us. But today, there's absolutely nothing to be salty about. And, of course, the same can be said about C's Muradin. Absolute beast, absolute savage on that hero.
But now, A-Team. They can get priority on damage. They can if they want to, because support pre-ban phase if they have one that they prioritize. Maybe the Deckard Cain once again.
Yeah, you know what? At this point, the cool thing for RPG is, now you mentioned it so perfectly there before, the fact that they beat Deckard Cain compositions twice in a row with that hyper lockdown, hyper aggression, I think puts RPG in a really good spot here. No longer do they have to worry about banning Deckard Cain or, you know, picking it themselves, because they seem to have figured out the perfect recipe to counter it. At least when quote-unquote mid-tier teams are playing it, like A-Team or Beyond the Game before them. Although Beyond the Game is certainly a pretty respectable team in the first place. And they go for ETC immediately as the main tank. It didn't really do so well when KT played it earlier against CE. Can A-Team force the issue here? And is that going to be a Li Ming now for Lockdart Tetra?
It's a wonderful question. The Li Ming is always good because of the Wave of Force being a good interruption for the mosh pit. So I would not mind seeing them go for it. Question is, will it work?
And what are they planning on banning here? There could still be that Divine Mosh, you know. Don't forget, don't discredit it. And if they really want to go for that hyper-aggression style once again, an Uther, as we said earlier, could also be that golden disengager, you know, with a Hand of Freedom, the Hand of Justice. Then we see the Divine Shield, of course, beautiful to have in those kinds of moments as well.
And the ban is a Jaina. Sticking with damage for the moment makes sense. There's too many good supports. The only one, like you said, you might be afraid of is the Divine, the Holy Cow, the Divine Shield Mosh Pit. So that's the only one that really brings out immediate threat. But if you do that, you still have your damage dealers to pick. You just try and avoid the Mosh and just pick a Lunara or a Gul'dan or something like that and just go for superb AoE damage and just ruin Uther's day. This is the whole joy of Uther being quite low in priority right now because there's so many options against him in terms of AoE damage.
And the good thing about this Jaina ban, of course, is there is a player named Jaina on the side of A-Team, and he likes to play that hero. It's his highest participation hero. It's his highest win rate hero, one of his highest win rates assassins. So that's really cool to see. Although we have seen Jaina on the tanks before, and look at the respect ban coming in here by the A-Team, taking out Chicken's Tracer.
And we have the Tracer being removed, like you said, so Chicken probably going to be back on those melees and Star on the range damage. Wouldn't be too surprised about that.
They can, of course, keep that Li Ming until the very end, right? I don't think A-Team is going to steal it away unless they want to prevent that safe counter to the Mosh Pit.
I wouldn't mind Junkrat and Li Ming as their damage output.
Mm-hmm.
Because they already do, because for starters, Sa can play a really good Junkrat.
That is correct.
And we already know Locktar can play a superb Li Ming. It gives you potentially AoE damage to ruin Uther's day if we do see an Uther. And maybe pick only one of them now, like you said, like only the Li Ming now, I would say.
I would say so, just to be safe.
Your damage over time.
Just to be safe, and then they need a strong Soul Laner still. Urael available, Malthael available. They go for Falstad to counter the global aspect of Dehaka. And for the Zeratul, very, very aggressive hero, can be played by both Chicken and Sa.
So I think it's very likely we will see Chicken on it and Sa on the Falstad, as we did see it earlier today in that exact format.
Should be true. And that leaves, of course, another range DPS available for the Locktar, right? It could be something like a Chromie if they want to have a fully dedicated Soul Laner Falstad with a ganking Zeratul. Depends on the support, I guess. Chromie, if they don't have a cleanse, like if they go for Decker Kane again, nothing is actually going to protect them against a Temporal Loop. Like no cleanse, no burst protection.
But now A-Team, like I said, I really think they should pick something with cleanse this time. Like, there's not as much point and click CC, especially with Zeratul being picked, so you know there's no...
Oh, we call it!
So there is the Uther, and stealing the Li Ming, very sensible. I mean, what is to stop them now just going Lunara? Other than maybe not being able to play it in terms of players.
Gul'dan also being a formidable counter to the Uther. Also, the Fear is great against the melee targets.
That's true. It's good. It's good for denying the Mosh Pit, assuming you can burn the Divine Shield early.
Mm-hmm. Or you just Fear Uther before you can even drop the Divine Shield.
Yeah, I think you might be right on the Gul'dan. I'm feeling that. That feels comfortable. Let me quickly check Locktar's hero pool.
Yeah, that's the thing about Gul'dan, right? He's not really common in China. Not really popular.
One game under Locktar's belt, at least. 0 wins.
Could just be the Junkrat too, to be honest. I think that's a given hero that we know both Locktar and Sa play decently well. He's a great interrupt potential as well against the ETC, and that's what they're relying upon. And you know what? I can't even blame them for that. They've done good work with the Junkrat in Game 1. Why shouldn't it work a second time?
I can blame them for that, honestly. I think it is a choice that is dictated by a hero pool as opposed to a choice that is dictated by meta. It's still good, don't get me wrong, but I agree with you that I think Gul'dan might have been better, and I think that hero pool issue is going to be a problem in a week's time.
Absolutely true. When it comes down to the playoffs, when it comes down to the Eastern Clash where they face Korean teams who...
With 3 bans.
3 bans, exactly. With the exception of Ballistics, who are kind of limited in their hero pools sometimes, if you mention players like SCSC, for example. But for the most part, Korean teams are very, very flexible. They're very adjustable. They can easily spot out weaknesses in the enemy team's draft. And as you said, triple ban coming in, it's going to make the life of certain 1 trick or 2 tricks, 3 tricks much more harder. So yeah, that alone is going to be a huge reason for many Assassin players, Warrior players to step up their hero pool quite a bit.
So looking at these compositions, I like that they picked Uther. I would prefer a Gul'dan to the Junkrat. However, I'm still going to say that I think the Junkrat is enough. I think it is good enough. It's a lot more consistent crowd control for interruption on Mosh Pit, concussion mine underneath, wait for Divine Shield to expire, and then boom. We'll have to see if it is what they need. And if not, they've still got the Void Prism into the Rip Tire combo, which is very welcome and lovely as we load into Cursed Hollow. On the left, it is the A-Team. Jaina on Li Ming. Olele playing Hanzo. Bruiser on Dehaka. Stukov on Uther. And Kaitu is playing the ETC.
Facing them, after a strong performance in game number 1, is RPG, the rocket-propelled grenades, with Chicken on the Zeratul, MJ's playing Malf, Sa's on the Junkrat, C's on the Muradin, and Locktar, his buddy in crime, the fellow Dwarven mate, on the Falstad. So yeah, Double Dwarf seems to be the motto of the day. It lost in the previous game. It won before when RPG faced BTG. Let's see if they can repeat that success story. And the question is, Tetcher, are we going to see another Hinterlands Blast, or do you think it's going to be the good old trusty Mighty Gust, especially given the fact that it's such a boss-heavy map like Curse Hollow?
I think Gust is fantastic. Void Prism Gust is a very standard combo that can just lead to so many opportunities, so I've got to lean towards that. Although I would quite like to see a VP into Hinterland Blast if they think they can pull it off, but I very much doubt that that kind of opportunity is ever going to present itself to them. Nice dodge by Chicken.
Yeah, there's also always that, you know, slight misplay potential if you go for Junkrat plus Hinterlands Blast. A Concussion Mine, a Riptire, the knockbacks could sometimes ruin the Hinterlands Blast. So I think we're going to have a Mighty Gust, that's for sure. Li Ming, by the way, not going for Power Hungry this time, but going for the Magic Armor, level 1.
Force Armor indeed. It is an interesting choice. It makes sense against the Zeratul. The majority of his damage these days is ability focused due to a cleave build being the name of the game. Unless it's the bait and switch and we end up seeing a Might of Nerazim build coming in from Zeratul, trying to be sneaky. Stukov helping with this Merc Camp, and I love that. Look at his level 1 talent, Hammer of the Lightbringer here. He is joining it in with Merc Camp. He's not got great clear, but it's a very safe way for him to gain stacks without having to move out in lane.
Yeah, absolutely true. It also refills Uther's mana bar, which is sometimes his greatest weakness. You know, Uther not being as sustainable as other supports. He runs out of mana fairly quickly, has high cooldowns on his abilities. So the Hammer of the Lightbringer, as you said, especially after getting stacked fully, is going to help him to keep the cooldown of his Hammer of Justice low. So you can have those stuns against Zeratul if he goes in cheeky. You can have those stuns available as a disengage as well. Kaito in trouble. Gets chased down immediately by 3 members, but they lose the Zeratul to the towers as well, a 1-for-1, and this is an acceptable trade for ETC, that's for sure.
They tried everything to kill ETC there, but unfortunately it did cost them the life of Chicken.
Fully committed.
Fully committed. Hashtag worth in chat, but like you said, ETC also hashtag worth. So unfortunately, actually it's a custom game. There is technically an all chat, but wrong game. As we do see it. We're looking for the Storm Bomb, but this time Bruiser, too quick, able to dodge.
Cute little drag there as well. The tongue by the Haka securing that the mercenary gets a little closer to the tower instead of outranging it. So you really want to use your knockback, your drag abilities onto those Siege Giants early, so you can basically use that time you saved and rotate to the tribute. It's now going to spawn in the bottom half of the map. Kai2 taking some pretty significant stun and poke here already by Muradin and Falstad and Junkrat.
Look at that. Hammer of the Lightbringer already done thanks to that mercenary clear of Uther. This means that he's going to have his Hammer of Justice off cooldown even more. This is going to be almost entirely aimed at Zeratul. This is the plan right now. Nice interrupt from Junkrat from over the wall, by the way. Really like that. Zeratul found Bruiser, but is going to back up here. Tribute still being denied here. Nicely done. MD, be careful though, as does C. Taking a lot of damage. Has the Dwarf tossed away as Sar continues just to be an absolute menace. Denial after denial here. Moonfire not banning, but it makes room for the grenade. Stormbolt for good measure.
That's beautiful.
The delay is 4v3.
I was going to say it's a 4 versus 3. RPG is buying so much time for the Falstad, for the Zeratul to soak in 2 lanes. Now the Broccoli even being there. Not only does it pose a little threat in terms of interrupting, but also it grants vision. But now they've had enough of the Junker. They take him down with a combined effort, even getting Dahaka in there. But look at that. With the help of Dahaka, they're basically leaving those 2 lanes open. So although Junkrat died, I don't think it's going to be the worst thing ever for RPG because they were the ones soaking. They stalled out so much time, so I don't think they're going to have to face a massive level 10 disadvantage for the 3rd tribute. Well played by RPG, but also good lockdown by the A-team finally.
Yeah, it gives them the first tribute as Chicken able to use a little bit of spare time he has in the top lane to grab at least a tower. Nice boost in XP for his team. Both teams already on level 7 talents, so the race will likely be for level 10 talents. Probably not before the next tribute, but maybe before tribute number 3.
Yeah, I would agree. So, by the way, we see a different build coming in this time from Loktar. He went for the Seasoned Marksman, probably realizing that Li Ming went for that countermeasure and probably also realizing that sustained damage against an ETC would be much more valuable than against a Muradin, for example, or a Garrosh. So, ETC, you know, that's the one thing he kind of suffers from right now. While he still has that great level 10, while he still has great lockdown, his overall tankiness is a little left to be desired compared to Muradin or Diablo, the go-to warriors these days.
Very true. And we also see, due to it not being locked out on that Junkrat, we're heading back to a bit. It takes a lot of damage. But we're heading back to a bit more of a standard Junkrat build as well. True. Not going for bouncy, sticking with put some English on it. Assar is on the hero this time. One of my favorite heroes of his. I have a couple doubts about some of his heroes in his pool, but this is a good one. As Lockdown gets stunned out by HGC, trying to move himself near a wall to give himself an escape route. Doesn't need it. Instead, just turns around and kills ETC. Thanks to the gank of Chicken.
We just talked about ETC suffering when it comes to the tankiness, right? I mean, if you take those constants, by the way, that's a dangerous flight by Locktar. Okay, he went for a very, very safe location. Otherwise, he could have actually exposed himself to a cheeky tongue by Dehaka if he notices where Falstad is going to fly towards. Yeah, ETC is struggling a little bit when it comes to make those plays, right? The consistent damage by Junkrat, by the Falstad, and the high cooldowns, excuse me, on Uther. It's going to make it really tricky for him to find that gap to find a good play.
Still get scouted. Level 10 on the way for RPG. If they can split soak that level 10, Junkrat might be able to steal this with a concussion mine.
Yeah, they're going to have VP. They're going to have a Gust available. This is not a boss that 18 wants to take.
They're going to have 10. They're going to get a tribute. Falstad moving into position to take this. They're not letting it
leash. They want that boss.
Kaitu, though. They have 10. Nice dodge by Chicken. Boss looks like it might finally get leashed. Twilight Dream gives the RPG the escape potential here because they actually do get dived on. Avatar has to be dropped. VP for the disengage.
Oh, it's going to be a big bada bang, bada boom.
Riptire and Stukov goes down. Kaitu power slides away. He will escape, but they didn't get the boss, but they got the kill. And Falstad is fighting over the tribute, and he will get this because guess who's on the way? It's the entire team.
It's not the A team that's on the way, but it's RPG's. Yeah. Reinforcements coming in, jump over the wall. Are the body blocks going to be enough? Nope, not against Bruce and then Haka, who becomes unbody blockable if he uses his W.
He's able to escape. Stage dive ETC, round 2, fight. As we see him coming in, Junkrat scouts it and is going to do a lot of damage onto Olele. They're very nearly killing him.
Falstad is coming in.
Falstad, ooh, good lord, friend. He has Gust. So it's an interesting place to be. Here comes Zeratul. VP not available. Can they get in position? It's going to be up to Sar to get onto this point. Chicken holds it, but he wormholes out. Kaitu survives. In comes the stage dive. Oh, you don't want to be here, Kaitu. He has to power slide away. Barely gets out. Boss is taken, though. A vague attempt at a steal by RPG.
Yeah.
Not happening. The commitment wasn't there.
It was good, though, by Chicken that he didn't fully commit to it, because if they lost a hero or two there, that would have been a free tribute for the enemy team as well. And this way, the way they played it, true, the boss is going to deal a little bit of damage, but nothing they couldn't defend, right? And they still maintain themselves the chance of maybe getting the curse point here. 2-1 in terms of tributes. Can they actually contest this one? Jaina already there with a full channel. Murden posing.
A little bit of miscommunication there. Zeratul comes in as well, but he was not needed. Riptide lands. Had to explode a little bit early there because it was taking tower shots and would have died. Chicken hangs around the area. Nice Sonic arrows.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Divine Shield combined with the Burrow. The anti-synergy here. VP is down. VP. And that should be the death of Haka. Note being zoned out, actually, as Kaitu comes in with the power slide and gives Bruiser a chance to escape. But Kaitu, with the Twilight Dream, gives the Sar Grenade time for the blow-up. And Jada, just short of dying there. That Singularity Spike so close to hitting.
Exactly. If that Singularity Spike lands on Li Ming, she is a goner. I'm not sure if Uther would have had another heal at the ready. And it looks like RPG have done it again. They jump over the wall here with C. Surprise, surprise. Can they get Olele here in trouble with a Hanzo? Easy kill. They might even get Uther because of that good route.
Pursuit of Justice, though, gets Uther out. He speed boosts away, and Hanzo did blow a point-blank Dragon Arrow. Stage dive used by Kaitu here. They're going to try and blow up Locktar. Nice face melt there as well. The stage dive and face melt used power slide, I believe, will be available very shortly. So if they did chase, he would get out, but he is fine for the moment. He's delaying time right now. He's trying to buy time for his team to regroup up. They can maybe defend mid, but right now, it's like they've given up on that and are instead just relying on the fact that Haka has safe top, at least for the moment, and they're going to do a mercenary camp.
Yeah, so the double global, as you said, the Haka and the stage dive ETC, right, buying themselves a little bit more time here. Ultimately, there's nothing they can do to keep that alive, that fort alive in the middle. Mercenary minion wave getting destroyed there as well. So they get 2 forts, that's for sure. The top boss is still available for RPG to maybe fall back on right now as well. They do have all the heroic abilities ready they need. The Gust, the VP. So I think they're probably going to take this Merc Camp and or maybe the boss at the same time.
Quite possibly, like you said, the boss is available.
Yep.
It's going to be 12 to 13. It's a possible invade. Face mount from BTC could be a steal
level
tool,
13
as well as
is not
Dragon
there.
Arrow.
Yeah.
It would be risky, but RPG are taking a very long time clearing out this bruiser camp. So if they did intend on doing boss, they're a little bit slow with it. This is, like you said, it's still not going to be 13 for the A team.
Yeah.
It's only going to take 1 kill to get it, and as such, RPG, they aren't willing.
If they had gone boss for the boss right off the get-go, they would have easily got it. But here we go.
Dear.
2-man VP. Can they collapse on it?
There's the moves onto Kaito. Riptire coming in a little bit late. It's going to be damage onto Kaito here. D-Shield just being waited out. They kill off the Riptire.
It's a good trade. It's a good trade. Look at the cooldowns now. 65 for 81. It's a good trade for RPG now that the Divine Shield is no longer there.
And it is. So ETC able to survive. I like the idea of waiting, having the Riptide wait it out, but quick reaction from the A team to kill that off quick. Very nice. And as such, with Divine Shield gone, they have no qualms moving up to this boss, as that would be one of the big tools that could be used in the steal.
Yeah, I mean, sure, the VP went down right, but they realized, you know what, the Gust is still there. We still have a Junkrat with the concussion mines causing all sorts of problems. And I think the moment RPG sees that the Haka's on the bottom, they realize, you know what, it's easy go time. There goes the Gust immediately to secure it. The trap was good too. The Twilight Dream hit nothing. I don't know what that was all about.
Stage dive is used. Sar's not in the best position. In the meantime, Chicken kills off Hanzo in the backline. And Sar will get taken out. The Total Chaos even dodged by a bruiser here as Jada gets a reset. But Chicken able to dodge out the way. Everyone else disengaging. Locktar. Does he have barrel roll? If he does, doesn't need it. They're able to disengage. Turns it into a 1-for-1, but the boss was taken. Global will be able to be used to get that tribute and start the RPGs. Start RPG on the way to another curse.
Also, look at the bottom camp. There is already a mercenary camp marching towards the gates of the bottom keep. So if RPG is fast with the rotations, which I think they are, they're going to try to support that push a little more and maybe collapse on a single defender, which in this case I think will be Hanzo. Look at C. Look at the two dwarves. They're setting up for a cheeky gank. Olele, is he aware of it?
He's right inside the gate. Falstad, it'll be
no!
the wall. I like the idea, but Muradin not getting the angle correct. They actually stopped and go behind the gate barely, but the angles were just off for RPG there.
The problem is, the moment Muradin shows himself first, which they needed to do in order to get that lockdown, Hanzo's gonna jump immediately, right? You see the Muradin, you jump over the wall immediately. With a Falstad showing himself first, you're like, I'm not sure, maybe I can beat him in a one-on-one. I'm definitely not gonna panic jump. So it was so close. They had to play it this way, and as such, I don't think we can fault the double dwarfs here too much. Now, Chicken though, thank you A-Team at this point. They messed up the combo.
Very nearly hit Locktar, actually.
Yeah.
Dragon Arrow flying across the map as C shows up. He's alone. His rest of his team's on the way, but it's more than enough to dissuade the members of the A-Team showing up. So now RPG, they could try it. They could try and steal.
Yeah.
They're doing it. They're doing it.
I don't think A-Team expects RPG to be this cheeky, right? They had to Haka do the mercenary camp there as well. The clearing speed is okay. Oh, that's actually a big one now that Locktar had to use the barrel roll over the wall. So he brought himself into an unfavorable position now.
He still has Gust.
Still has the
Gust. He can move position. Looks like RPG might be willing to let it go. I think they're actually just trying to bait in the A-Team.
I think so too. They're just trying to buy time. They have the 16 though. The boss is now reset though. That's basically it.
It's the A-Team hovering around the area once again as well. They spot Sar at minimum.
All right, what is RPG trying to do here right now? Look at ETC. He's all the way in the middle. He does have the stage dive, of course. They really want to get that 16. And they saw ETC in the middle because of minion vision. They saw the Dahaka in the top lane because of minion vision. And now they're trying it once again. RPG, they're not letting go. ETC is getting outzoned by the Zeratul. They're going to lose this fort, though, if A-Team stalls is out long enough.
Yeah, I mean, Zeratul pulled away from the boss. Because Kaito is a global hero, they could not do that boss anymore. Divine Shield has to be used here. Uther self-de-shielding as he wants to chase forwards. Remember, stage dive still available. Dragon Arrow hits too. Where's Falstad going? Down goes Muradin. Down goes Malfurion. Riptire VP.
Retreat!
What? Falstad? Did he just fly in thinking they would retreat and then has to port back to base? Yeah, that's exactly what happens. So Falstad miscalling there, thinking they would retreat, turned into a great team fight for the A-Team. And as such, they're going to be able to get this boss and a curse, actually.
That is one of those moments in which you're like, wow, we just brought our team, the enemy team, back into the game. Not only are they going to get a curse, not only did that siege camp in the top lane get the fort, but also they're going to get this boss. So this is the moment for the A team where they're like, thank you, enemy team. We're going to take this now and start coming back. Chicken, though, misses yet the singularity spike again. But this is basically where it all turns south. A beautiful double arrow. And ETC collapsing. Muradin's no more. The support is no more. Chicken arrives too late with a VP. And that's that.
Yeah, tribute not delayed. Again, Junkrat did his best, but it's going to be a curse. Boss still pretty healthy in this bot lane. Everyone wants to get alive for the side of RPG, though. Yeah. But like you said, this is absolutely the comeback opportunity of the A-team.
Now, mid lane is still pretty okay, right? They still have the fort there, RPG that is, so that's going to keep the minions and the mercenaries at bay for a little bit longer. But the bottom lane, this could actually be a game-ending push. If RPG loses even one team member, maybe two, that could be the core call as it is. 16 minutes into the game, the boss has scaled pretty significantly yet. There's not a lot of cooldowns left. The VP still on cooldown for 10 seconds. Can they hold that, though? Can they hold it? Riptire. Clear the minion waves, clear the mercenaries. Boom.
It damages the mercenaries and the boss, but cleans out all the minions. Like you said, this keep will be going down. Right now, this is damage control. Prevent any boss damage, prevent any kills as a 3-man Dragon Arrow lands. Stage dive comes in. Does not get hit. Root from Mafia is slightly off center. As Chicken is very low, so low, he's dead as he does get locked down. Boss now doing damage onto Core. Power slide onto Sar as well. He goes down. Sin dives deep, trying to delay. Boss finally taken out. Locktar doing some damage, trying to buy some time. There's a great E-shield onto Li Ming, and she's able to back up a little bit here. She's even gone for Diamond Skin to stay alive, gets the reset, gets the dominance here. As the core, the shield is gone. A-team versus just Volstad and Malfurion are going to try and end the game, and they are going to do it with ease.
Absolutely. They're going to take that victory that RPG presented to them on a silver platter. That was unnecessary, a big misplay, and A-team, they're capitalizing on that mistake. They're coming back swinging into this game. And if only RPG had been a little more patient with that defense, if only Zeratul doesn't die there, saves his poke for when the team is actually hitting the core, then I think this could be a different outcome of the game.
That means both these teams gain 1 point. The A-team onto 6, RPG onto 7. Still 2 points behind KT and Team Nut. It's not over yet for either of these teams. In fact, we still see the fact that the A-team, they have 3 more series left to play. RPG, they do only have, they also have 3. Sorry, I can't read. So both these teams could still get a grand total of 9 points left, but so can everyone else.
And Tetcher, these are those moments in which we see the weakness of China. The one big weakness. You want to focus on team fighting too much? You want to brawl all the time? That's exactly what happens. You end up losing teammates when you didn't even need to lose them, right? Let them have the curse. What can they actually do with it? True, they might get the middle fort, but can they get the bottom keep? I don't think so, because with that curse, they probably couldn't have done the boss, you know? Because all the team members of RPG would have still been alive. So let them have the curse, just defend it. You've got a global hero, you've got good wave clear, let it go through. And if the enemy team tries to go for the boss, you can then go in and try to steal it away. You have the false set gust, you have the VP. Just wait for the enemy team to make those misplays. Don't cause the mistakes yourself by just lingering around the middle, spreading yourselves all over the place and then getting caught by a Hanzo arrow.
I really think they could have just got the boss. I think they were way too cautious with that at one of those points. They had Gust, false had that barrel roll over the wall. I think he could have just gone the other way, like gone sideways, made it back to behind his team and still positioned himself reasonably for a Gust if he moved back into the boss pit. I don't know. I think RPG uncharacteristically played too passive.
Yeah, it's true, right? It's one of the teams who we sometimes criticize for being overly aggressive. It worked so well in the first game against the A-team. It worked really well against BTG in game number 2. And this time, you know, their indecisiveness, their patience, basically, when their fear of making a misplay near that boss was too high. It was too much. And the A-team, man, they were the cooler team in the end and came back after a pretty punishing mistake by RPG. But hey, that's Heroes of the Storm, right? Sometimes you win or sometimes you give the win away to the enemy team.
As you do. And with that, who would you say is the MVP? Because right now, I'm going to be honest, the A-team, I didn't really expect them to win that. No one really stood out for me, so I have no idea.
I guess it was Hanzo, because without that Dragon's Arrow, they wouldn't have had the lockdown on the 2 RPG members in the middle. That means ETC wouldn't have been there in time with these stage dives. So I would probably give it to Hanzo, I think played by Olele. And Olele as a player has also improved pretty much compared to the beginning of the season. So maybe you have these two aspects, coming together, the improvement and on the one side, and on the other hand, you have a beautiful Dragon's Arrow. So that would be my MVP, the Hanzo.
I think I'd agree. It really was the definitive play that allowed them to make the comebacks. Whereas everything else, it was kind of RPG's win and RPG's loss there. I will definitely say that.
Maybe we can say MVP and then you put the RPG logo next to it and you say RPG.
Most valued player, RPG playing for A team. Well, no, they did fantastically throughout that game, RPG, right up until that. When they had level 16 and they just stayed around that boss area doing very little. And I think there's so much else they could have done on the map to make that value.
Exactly. Korean teams, right? For example, they would have immediately turned on the pressure, using that 16, forcing towers, trying to keep the lanes pushed, and then they would have taken the boss with all the tools they had available. RPG, what they did, they were trying too hard to force the boss only to not do it, instead of applying pressure on other lanes first, for example. So yeah, that was ultimately their downfall. 8 to 6 kills, 20 to 18 in terms of levels. Oh yeah. But that is a very, very good win for the A team, right? They were at the brink of getting overshadowed by RPG if they had lost that 0-2. With that result, though, they managed a pretty good distance to their contenders.
Yep. They keep 1 point in between them and RPG. Whereas the A team, the teams they have to play for the rest of the season aren't easy. It's Team Nut, it is Olele, by the way, getting MVP, well deserved. But it is Team Nut, CE, and the 1 for the A team. Whereas RPG, they have KT, CE, and SPT. So both these teams are pretty rough rides. 2 teams that they can maybe beat in the form of KT and Team Nut. And then both of them get CE. And then 1 gets the 1 and 1 gets SPT. So both have pretty rough roads ahead of them to get any more points.
All right, so Olele becoming the MVP, as we said. Strong Hanzo play overall, especially with that last Dragon's Arrow. Compared to a Stitches Hook, for example, sometimes all it needs is one late game cast of that ability, whether it's a hook or a Dragon's Arrow, and it's going to win you the game. And that's exactly what they did. Also, I think even before that, we had a couple of cute Hanzo moves. For example, when C and Locktar in that false step, when they tried to go for that assault, right? He immediately realized something was fishy, used the jump to safety. So these map awareness plays are also a little something like tiny details that oftentimes get overlooked if the observer doesn't catch them.
And their positioning and the positioning on Hanzo was pretty good anyway. So but he was gusted into the tower and not into that side wall area, which would have maybe allowed them to make the play, even though Muradin, that Stormbolt, was not on full accuracy. Now let's head over to our analyst, Nova, as he's going to break down some replays, and we are going to do our best to interpret what he is saying. Interpret is the word as opposed to translate, I guess.
Yeah, there we go. So this was the first game, of course. We all remember how well that went for RPG with that very brave, but also very calculated Tyrael pick with that Judgment. So that was a really good concussion mine highlighted there by Nova as well. They immediately collapsed on him, but I think this is the moment in which Phoenix actually lives through against all odds. Look at that. The constant healing by Decker Kane. Stukov doing wonders on those potions, and because Tracer didn't have the ulti, she just couldn't pop the Phoenix when it was needed to.
Very true, and as such, Bruiser's diving deep, being a great distraction. He's actually able to just tank through this, and they just kill off Tyrael. Like you said, the bait was superb.
Yeah, that Ardent Defender was saved until the very last moment there, and just when RPG thought they had that kill for sure, he popped it on, and Tyrael was actually the one who was fooled. For now, though, this teamfight is basically over at that point. Probably going to move on to another highlight. We see Chicken, really trying to get that kill, but of course, against Irel, there's not much they can do. Great save, though, by the concussion mine once again. Here, game number 2. That was the game-ending push, and I think, Tetra, now we're going to see the big misplay by Chicken getting focused down too much and dying early.
You can see he's already revealed here by that Hanzo Sonic Arrow, which means that he is as effective a target as anyone else, including for any point-and-click abilities like the Uther Stun as such, and just easier to spot out in this quite dark map.
Here we go. Jaina already on that Li Ming on the left-hand side, positioning himself pretty well. Here comes an early Gust as well. You might have actually argued, why wouldn't they try and save that for the actual core attack, right? If you just keep the enemies at bay there with a Gust, and then you focus down on the boss real quick, the core is going to help you in that regard. But I think the Gust was actually acceptable because they basically get that momentum, that moment of focusing the boss right here, right now. So the Riptire keeping the minions at bay is perfectly fine, pushing back the Siege Giants as well. It's pretty good. So everything is looking fine for RPG. If they don't die here, they can definitely def at the core.
And that's the plan. But unfortunately, as we know with the power of precognition, that they did die. And as such, it got in trouble. Chicken still revealed right now. You can still see that little red eye above his head. This appears quite shortly, but they still know basically where he is. And he has to move into melee range in order to start burning down that boss, which is still only at half health.
Yeah, the boss is getting chipped down quite easily. I mean, it's a 16-minute boss, but usually you see those core calls around level 20, right? That's normally when the boss has scaled enough, it's grown up, it's big enough. Now, Chicken. Let's watch the Zero Tool. He's already chipped down to 70, roughly 75% of his health. And I think at this point, he's trying to make a play. Even the VP, they could have saved all the way for the core. Now, if you think about it, the tools they had available, the Gust, the VP, this is one of the hardest comms to actually go core against, right? Junkrat as well with the Concussion Mine. But still, RPG managed to unfortunately mess it up just a little bit.
And you can see Falter very nearly getting caught in the boss
yeah,
here,
very
actually.
close.
But able to dodge. But it's both of the squishies on one side, both of the melees on the other. Mafurin is the most efficiently positioned. But that Dragon Arrow coming back, able to hit Loktar and MJ. The Arcane Orb, huge damage output. And you can see Chicken.
What is he doing there?
I'm not sure. I think he was trying to avoid the contagion, but level 20 is not available.
Yeah.
So we're trying to avoid the hacker, maybe just try a bait, just try and juke it. Like, who expects you to run that way? So I guess it's the situation of, you don't expect me to run towards you.
Look at the positioning as well, though, by A-Team, right? They're spreading out so nicely because they realize what Chicken is trying to do here is he's trying to go for a VP, right? He's trying to land it on 3 people at the same time, but the positioning and the anticipation of the A-Team was too good. They realized exactly that and spread out, and only one member got hit. And guess what?
And that member stuns him on the way.
Yeah, really good, actually. The stun by the boss was crucial, so he couldn't even dash out
That wasn't the boss, that was Uther.
Oh, that was Uther? Then even better.
Yeah, that's Uther in the VP, and as he goes into the VP, bong, with the Hammer of Justice.
Oh, man. So, yeah, Olele and Jaina, they're going to kill him. Easy.
Yep, because he's locked down. He tries to get out, but right into the awaiting arms of Bruiser. Wave of Force for good measure. And yeah, Uther just pops out the VP after a little bit because, well, there's no one to follow up on it.
Why didn't you use it there, right? Just after the boss hit the core, you use it over there. You probably get 2 or 3 people minimum in there.
Yeah, or even just use it on the core.
Oh, use it on the core, exactly.
Dying, kill the boss, kill the teams, don't die. It was an unnecessarily risky play.
And sometimes these unnecessary plays, they cost you the game. But of course, the real mistake, right? The real letdown happened a few moments before when they were caught. The enemy team even wasn't able to get the boss in the first place. And it just snowballed out of control. But yeah, nevertheless, a very enjoyable, a very entertaining series in its own way, I would say. And now we're basically halfway through, guys. 3 more series to come after this one. So please make sure to stay tuned. And we'll see you in a bit.